Here we're going to take this equation for an ellipse and get it in standard form so we can determine the center, vertices, and foci and get it graphed. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the x terms and I'm going to factor a 9 out. That will leave me x squared for this term, and factoring a 9 out of this will leave me negative 6x. Then I'm going to make a place to complete the square. Now I'm going to look at the y terms and I'm going to factor out that coefficient of 25. That'll leave me y squared. Factoring 25 out of 100 will leave me plus 4y and a place to complete the square. I'm going to move the constant of negative 44. I'm going to add 44 to both sides so I can move it over here. And then I'm going to make 2 blanks for the things I put on there to complete the square. And in the first one there's a 9 in front of the parentheses that it's in, so I need that. And on the second one there's a 25 and whatever I put in the blank. All right, now I'm ready to figure out what those numbers are to complete the square. So I look at this middle coefficient, divide it in half, get negative 3, and then for in the blank we square that, so that's going to be 9. Looking at this next one, middle's coefficient is 4, divided in half is 2, square that for 4. And if I put a 9 on with a 9 in front of the parentheses, I need to do it to the other side, and same with the 4 times the 25. So now I'm ready to factor. I'm going to erase this part so I've got room to factor it. So I have the 9 in front. This will factor into a perfect square of x minus 3 squared, and then the 25 will factor into y plus 2 and y plus 2, so y plus 2 squared, and that will equal, so this one's 81 and this one's 100, and then plus the 44, so it looks like that's 225. Now I'm not quite in standard form, because to be in standard form I need the right hand side to be a 1, so I'm going to divide by 225, and that would divide this one by 225 and this one by 225. And then last thing on that is to reduce. 9 will go into 225 25 times, and 25 will go into 225 9 times. So I've got my equation. I'm trying to decide where I'm going to fit it on this slide. I'm going to put it down here below the center. So it's going to be x minus 3 squared over 25 plus y plus 2 squared over 9 equal 1. So now I'm ready to put the center, and I'm going to put it right here. And so we're going to find the center. We have x minus 3 quantity squared, so if we set that x minus 3 equal to 0 and solve it, we would add 3 to both sides, and x would be 3. So it's always the opposite sign of what's in there. So on the y plus 2, if we do that, we would get negative 2. So my center is at 3, negative 2. And I'm going to find that center, and I'm just going to put an x there. So that's not a point on the ellipse, but it's where I'm going to measure from. Now I'm ready to put some points on the ellipse. Underneath my x stuff is a 25. That's a squared. So a is 5. So in the x direction, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each direction, positively and then negatively. And those are 2 points on my ellipse. Underneath the y squared stuff is a 9. That's b squared. So b is 3. So in the y direction, I'm going to go up 3. And from the center, I'm going to go down 3. So that defines my ellipse. I can now go ahead and graph it. And now I can see my major axis is horizontal. So my vertices are at the ends of the major axes. So there's one here and one here. And so I can figure out what those points are. I need to change the x by that amount, which was 5 in each direction. So from the center of 3, if I went up 5, I'd be at 8. and I don't change the y value, so I could double check it here and see that should be the 0.8 negative 2, and it is. Then looking at the other vertex, the x is 3, and I take away 5, that would put me at negative 2, and don't change the y. And let's just double check that. Yes, it is negative 2, negative 2. So to find the foci, I know that c squared is going to be the larger of the two denominators, so that's 25 minus the other one, 9. So c is going to be the square root of 16, which is 4. So along the major axis from the center, I need to go c each way to find a focus. So from the center, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 in this direction. So there's one focus right there. The center was at 3, and I added 4 to it. So that's going to be at 7. Don't change the y value. So negative 2. And then if from the center I go 1, 2, 3, 4 in the negative direction, I would be right there. And that's my other focus. If I started at 3, and I took away 4, I would be at negative 1 and still the same y value of negative 2. So these are my foci, and I won't put them over where I don't have room, but I'll just have them labeled right there.